Hello everyone, I'm Nathan and welcome to the show where we talk about media matters that matter. Today's topic is the Rise of Skywalker, and how within the Rise of Skywalker we can find every single episodic Star Wars film up to this point, in order. I think this is a really interesting, just sort of neat thing that I picked up on. This is not a defense of why the film is great or why it is not great, so kind of leave that out of it. This is a theory of sorts that you can let me know if you're convinced by the end of the video in the comment section below. But I'm going to be taking us through the plot of The Rise of Skywalker and how there is a representation of every single Star Wars film within The Rise of Skywalker, starting with the planet of Pasaana. When I was watching the movie in theaters, we're on this desert planet. There's dust and sand blowing in the wind, rocky canyons, and this is the they fly now seed, so to speak. So there is a speeder bike chase in the midst of this desert planet, and it got me thinking, this reminds me of something. It reminds me of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and the pivotal moment in that film, the pod race, where Anakin is racing to achieve his freedom. And it's one of the most memorable and exciting sequences in the film. If you ask people about The Phantom Menace, they're probably going to talk about the pod race. And this had the same energy. It's on the same kind of desert planet. They're speeding through those rocky cliff sides. Same kind of geography, same kind of motion. They are both, in a sense, chase scenes. And I was like, there's a similarity here. That's kind of a neat callback. Okay, probably nothing. Kind of cool, though. But then we kept going. And the next thing that happens in The Rise of Skywalker is this sort of convoluted clue trail. You know, it's a Star Wars film, but it was becoming this strange sort of mystery film as we were chasing this dagger and these artifacts and going from clue to clue. And then that reminded me of another convoluted mystery film called Attack of the Clones. Star Wars Episode 2, actually, if you think about it, is a clue trail film. It follows Obi-Wan Kenobi, who takes a dart and tries to trace the origin of that dart, which leads him to Jango Fett and sets the plot of Attack of the Clones in motion. So, in a way, this sort of dagger clue trail plotline is an embodiment of Attack of the Clones, following our embodiment of The Phantom Menace. Then, our clue trail takes us to the planet of Kijimi. And Kijimi, thematically, when you listen to the bonus features, the reason this planet is the way it is it's a representation of what a planet under the occupation of the First Order would be like. People are getting, thrown about and shot in the streets and taken from their homes, and it's a brutal sight. And it reminded me of another brutal sight in Star Wars. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, when the heart of the Empire is really exposed during Order 66, when Jedi are being shot down in the streets, and when the Empire is coming into full force. What would the Empire be like? Well, here they are, murdering people in the streets, democracy dying with thunderous applause. So, we kind of have these three moments that remind me of scenes from the prequels, and they are in order, but it's not the most convincing thing in the world. Like the Kijimi thing, maybe that's a stretch, I don't know. But then it gets a little more convincing. I think it gets a little more overt here, because then we get to the part where they are on Kylo Ren's ship, and they're trying to rescue Chewbacca, who we find out is alive. They're running through the hallways, and it reminded me exactly, in terms of tone, and in terms of look, in terms of visual, and in terms of plot, of A New Hope, Episode 4. The original Star Wars, where they are running through the Death Star on a rescue mission to find Princess Leia, just like they're on a rescue mission for Chewbacca in Episode 9. So things are getting pretty close. This is a very clear homage, I think. And then we get to the grand fight between Kylo and Rey. And at the end of this fight, between our hero and between our villain, he reveals who Rey's parents are. This may remind you of the most pivotal moment of all of Star Wars, and definitely the most pivotal moment of The Empire Strikes Back, where our hero fights our villain, and at the end of that, there is the famous "I am your father," the reveal of the hero's parentage. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in order, kind of the pivotal core moments of each of those stories present, 1 through 5. Then we get to 6, where we have, in Rise of Skywalker, we're going to fast forward a little bit to where you get to the ruins of the Death Star. And so, since it is the ruins of the Death Star, you are standing in the ruins of the past. Not only is this a reference to Return of the Jedi, but they are literally standing in the dilapidated version of the throne room that is the Emperor's throne room. They're literally in the location from the film. And they're fighting, once again, the hero and the villain, just like the pivotal battle, the final battle at the end of Return of the Jedi between the hero and the villain in the Emperor's throne room. So we're kind of reenacting episode 6. Then it gets really overt when it gets to the sequel trilogy, because you have 1 through 6, but then this battle continues, and it goes outside of the throne room. Now we are outside in the big fight scene with all the waves and all that. And at the end of it, Kylo Ren is confronted by the memory of his father, Han Solo. And Harrison Ford, of course, reprises his role. It's a really sweet moment. And it, as many people hopefully would have caught on, it is the exact same lines of dialogue from The Force Awakens, which most people caught on to, but it's even cooler when you realize that 1 through 6 is represented in order beforehand. Then you get to 7, where you have the exact same dialogue, the exact same exchange from The Force Awakens, but the context is different. In The Force Awakens, he kills his father. In The Rise of Skywalker, we reenact that same moment from 7, but now he is turning to become Ben Solo. He chooses a different decision and goes toward the light. So you have this sort of twist on that same core pivotal scene from 7. When you think about the core pivotal scene of episode 8, I think the real tone setter for The Last Jedi is in the very, very beginning of the film, when you see Luke Skywalker throw that lightsaber behind him. That moment really establishes what the tone and the story of The Last Jedi are going to be. And in The Rise of Skywalker, following our homage to episode 7, we get an homage to episode 8, where Rey is following in the footsteps of Hermit Luke. Due to her failure, she is going to the setting of episode 8, to the island of Ahch-To. And just like at the beginning of episode 8, Rey throws the lightsaber. And when she does this, Luke catches it. A lot of people think this is a slap in the face to Rian Johnson, but you can also look at it as building upon the themes of The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is about learning from your failures and passing that on as a teacher to help the future generation to not reenact your mistakes. So here Rey is reenacting his mistakes, but he's able to catch the lightsaber. It's, once again, just like with episode 7, is the inverse of that moment. Here we have the inverse of the moment from episode 8, where Luke can inspire Rey to go forward, to not make the mistakes he made. He catches the lightsaber. And then we have episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in order, completed. Then you go into the finale, which is episode 9. To conclude the Skywalker Saga, our star-crossed lovers bound by fate go to defeat the ultimate embodiment of evil. They experience triumph, love, and ultimately loss, and in the end we are left with the idea that even when the Skywalker bloodline is no more, that the Skywalker name lives on to inspire future generations of Jedi and future generations of fans like you and me. So, 1 through 9, all within Rise of Skywalker. I call it Star Wars, a Star Wars story. I hope you found this to be interesting. It doesn't mean you have to like the film or not like the film, but I think it is a really interesting way to look at the film. It hopefully gives you some new insights into it, because I haven't seen anyone talking about this, and it's really cool that it works, whether it was intentional or not, but it does seem to be, because it fits so nicely. 1 through 9 in order. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you liked the video. Leave your thoughts on my little theory in the comment section below. Subscribe for more videos like this on Star Wars, as well as other nerdy topics like Disney and anime and all sorts of stuff like that. And I will see you guys next time.